Ready? Welcome everybody and Happy New Year. We got back from the bowl game and everybody kind of took a week to catch their breath and review the bowl game, and we'll go over it at the end of the press conference. But today, really want to talk about the newcomers. We have 10 high school guys that are enrolled, and we have 9 transfers that are getting started this week. So 19 new guys on your team is pretty significant, and the most by far we've ever had. I think at one point we had 12 at Texas. Here I don't think we've had more than 8, maybe 10 one of the 4 years. But so as we start looking at it, of the high school guys, 10 are enrolled. Paul Billups, Amari Campbell, linebacker, Paul Billups, wide receiver, DJ Geth, offensive line, RJ Grigsby, offensive line, Christian Hamilton, wide receiver, Jabron Harvey, the jack position, Tad Hudson, quarterback, offensive line, Nolan McConnell, linebacker, Michael Short, and jack position, Tyler Thompson. Michael Short and Amari Campbell actually went to the bowl game with us, and they couldn't practice in pads because they have to have an orientation period by the NCAA where they have to be in shorts for a couple of days to climatize. So they were in shorts, but they did have some practice out there and had fun and looked good. So all of those guys are here, and they are in school. And it's more important now than ever before that these guys get ready to play, because with opt-outs, with a transfer portal, with guys leaving after the 4th game when they redshirt, with guys in the transfer portal early in the year, you got to have everybody on your team. So we had more walk-ons playing this year than ever before, but every high school player that comes in needs to get ready to play and play on special teams, and much more than ever before with your roster numbers, because even at the bowl game we were down to very few.
Is that the same 10 you told us back in December on the signing day press conference?
Yes. And if I need to go back over it or give you the list at the end, we can. But none of that has changed. And I'm not sure that we will sign a high school player on the first Wednesday in February. We are not headed in that direction. Something can always show up. But as of right now, I don't see us doing that. I do think the transfer portal will have 2 more rushes where people get in after they start school in the next couple of weeks. They could start school, decide not to go through spring practice and go into the portal to assure they get their semester paid for. And then some at the end of spring practice will go into the portal. So there's still 2 more opportunities that we feel like that people will get in the portal. Justin Olson, for us, is going to go into the portal later today. He's going to stay through spring and get his degree. He's done a tremendous job for us. He's an outstanding young guy. He wants to go somewhere and get more playing time, and we're all for it, and we're going to help him in any way we can. And the unique thing about the transfer portal is we've talked to all the young people about where they're going and what they're doing, and trying to make sure that they get placed and get in a position where they're happy. So it's a little bit different than you would have thought maybe 10 years ago, where people are yelling at each other for leaving and mad. And I just talked to Justin a few minutes ago, and we knew this a month ago or 2 months ago, but he will be one of those guys that will go into the portal, not go through spring practice, and be recruited throughout the spring. The transfer enrollees, we'll take some time here, and would you rather talk about them and then watch the video right after, or would you rather talk about all 9 and then watch the video? What's best for you?
Probably talk about all 9, because also it's the time of everyone else for TV purposes.
What you got, Rolf?
What are the choices?
We talk about them all,
Okay.
and then we move and watch the video, or we talk about them, watch the video right afterwards.
Let's talk about it first. Then.
Okay? If everybody's okay with that, the first one is, and these are in order of position basically, is Nate McCullum. He's coming in from Georgia Tech. He's a 3-year veteran, wide receiver. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. As a sophomore, he tallied 60 receptions, 655 yards, and 3 touchdowns, despite playing with 3 different quarterbacks. His 60 receptions ranked 5th in the ACC, and he posted 3 100-yard receiving games. And we felt like he was one of the better players in the league. Pat obviously knew him Pat Sudis knew him while he was at Georgia Tech. Outstanding person, tremendous student, and we're excited about him and watching him this spring. Secondly, wide receiver, Devontae Walker. We'll call him Tez, T-E-Z. He's a 2-year veteran receiver at Kent State. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He started all 12 games and earned first-team All-Mack as a sophomore in 22. He caught 58 passes for 921 yards and 11 touchdowns. The 11 touchdowns were tied for 7th nationally and tied for 1st in the Mack. His 921 receiving yards ranked him 2nd in the Mack. And he was an academic All-Mack honoree. He's from West Charlotte. He actually tore his knee up in high school. He went to North Carolina Central. He transferred from Central during COVID because they weren't going to play. And that's how he got to Kent State. And we're very excited about him being back. Third, offensive lineman Willie Lampkin. Willie's a 3-year starter on the offensive line at Coastal Carolina. He has 2 years of eligibility left. And we can get you all of this afterwards if you don't have it. Pat can get it for you. He started 38 consecutive games, which means he stays healthy, and did that for three seasons. He started 13 games at center as a junior in 2022. He was named the Sun Belt Offensive Lineman of the Year. He started at 13 games at left guard as a sophomore. He was a freshman All-American. He allowed only 1 sack on the season, and he notched 27 pancake blocks. He won the 2A state championship at 285 pounds in wrestling and posted a perfect 47-0 record as a senior in high school. Our graduate assistant, Caleb Pickrell, knows him really well. He coached him and was around him in high school, and that's how we knew him. When you start looking at Tez Walker, Lonnie Galloway at West Virginia, and Coach Thigpen here were recruiting him out of high school. So they both had a relationship with him, and of course Pat had a great relationship with Nate McCullum. Derek Allen, safety from Georgia Tech. He's Marcus Allen on our team's brother, older brother. He's a 3-year veteran in the secondary at Georgia Tech. He has 1 year of eligibility left. He played in 31 games. He appeared in 9 games during 2020 season, made 13 tackles. He was a highly recruited safety out of Atlanta, going to Notre Dame in 2018. He redshirted. He was the nation's highest, one of the nation's highest safeties coming out of Lassiter. Their dad, Marcus, was a captain of the basketball team at West Point. Amari Gaynor will be at the jack position. He is a 5-year veteran on defense at Florida State. He has 1 year of eligibility left. Appeared in 46 games, starting 18 of them, 210 tackles, 6 sacks, 19 tackles for loss, 5 forced fumbles, and 2 pass breakups. He left Florida State as the program's active leading tackler. And he is a guy that they don't really have a jack position. He was playing inside linebacker. So for us, he'll be in the jack position, and he felt like that was better for him moving forward. Next is Armani Chapman. He is a cornerback. from Virginia Tech. 5-year veteran, 1 year of eligibility remaining. He started 25 games. He tallied 89 tackles, a sack, 4 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 20 pass breakups in his career. He started all 11 games he played in during the 2022 season, and he is a red-shirted senior. Next is defensive back Elijah Huzzy. He's a 4-year veteran on defense at East Tennessee State. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He appeared in 34 games. He started the final 30 while he was at East Tennessee. He had 179 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 12 interceptions, and 30 pass breakups. Started all 11 games last year, claimed first team FCS All-American, first team All-Conference. He finished 12th in the Buck Buchanan voting, which is the best defensive player in FCS. He tallied 59 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, and 16 breakups last year. His 22 passes defended led all FCS players. The 6 interceptions were the second most nationally at the FCS level. And he is a 2-time Southern Conference academic honor roll. So we're excited about Elijah being here. He was also an outstanding high school basketball player. And you love to have those basketball players. Next is Ryan Coe. Ryan is a place kicker that transferred in from Cincinnati. He's a 4-year veteran on special teams at Cincinnati, and he was at Delaware before the transfer rule was changed. He has 1 year of eligibility left. He's played in 40 career games, making 45 of 57 field goals and all 91 PATs. While kicking off 205 times, he notched 107 touchbacks. He kicked in 12 games at Cincinnati during the 2022 season. He was second team All AAC. He went 19 of 23 on field goals with a long of 52, but he made 16 of the last 17 field goals to end the season. He set Cincinnati's single season record for field goal accuracy. He kicked off 77 times and produced 45 touchbacks. He was a 2-time All-CAA performer and also a 2-time CAA Commissioner's Honor Roll enrollee. And then last is Tom McGinnis. Tom is not here yet. He's coming in this week because he's from Australia. It's a little bit more difficult to get him here. He's a newcomer to college football where he has 3 years of eligibility remaining. He played with Pro Kick Australia under Nathan Chapman and John Smith. He competed in Australian rules football for his local club, the Hampton Rovers. Then he started at 5 years old. He progressed to the representative team of the Sandringham Dragons in the NAB League, and that was the top under 18 competition. He played for the A team at his high school, and he's competed in cricket and basketball and tennis. So it'll be really, really exciting to get him here and see what he looks like this spring. And last, before we watch the video, Corey Gaynor is coming back, which is exciting for us. The 2 other offensive linemen, Ed Montelis is going to go to graduate school, but he's not going to play football anymore. And Awesome Richards, as you saw, is declared for the NFL, and he is playing in the Senior Bowl. But Corey's got a waiver still from his Miami days, but he only played in 3 games. So we feel like that he will definitely receive that waiver. Okay? So let's watch some of these guys, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about the bowl game. And, there we go.
Go grab your close branch.
Get carried away.
So Jeremy had us keep this here, is that okay?
Yes.
Mack, can I ask you a question about
Yeah, each put everything right up there should work.
you guys? Obviously, you want to get guys who have
Video of the video.
1 year eligibility. Since it seems
Oh, yeah,
that there's more 2-year guys coming out. Is that because they're getting used to it, they feel guilty about leaving their school? And are there any guys that you've seen who've come out after 1 year, since places, you're going where I get 3 years?
Yeah, it's a great question, Art. I think everybody's kind of navigating this stuff and trying to figure out who it is. All of the guys that have 2 years of eligibility, if they want to go to the NFL, they'll be eligible. So they would just have 1 year here. And what we've told them, if you can make a whole lot of money, leave. If you can make more money and build your product by staying another year, then stay 2. But obviously, if we can sign guys with 2 years left, that helps us with roster management better than having to replace them with an older guy every year. And now you've got to get into a conversation about how many high school guys do you take as compared to transfers. And you don't want to get into just a transfer mode. So next year, when you start looking at 24s right now, and I go out on the road Friday and we start looking at the 24s and talking to 24s, how many can you take? Will these guys be here 2 years? Will they just stay 1? So the numbers game, when you're looking at potential high school players, is really changing moving forward. And I do think one of the negative things about the transfer portal is it hurts high school players, because there's more people that are taking transfers, and therefore they will not take as many high school guys. So I hate that for the high school guys. Or the high school guys will have to wait till the February signing date, because guys are trying to see who they can get in the portal. The portal doesn't close till the 18th, Pat? End of the day on the 18th. We start school today, so we're through. But a lot of teams don't start school for 2 weeks, so they'll still be recruiting the portal hard for the next 2 weeks. After that, if they don't find what they want, then they can go ahead and go back and offer high school guys to try to get them to sign on signing date, or they wait till June and see the next wave of portal guys to see what they would sign then. So it's all over the place right now with everybody trying to figure out what all this means.
You can't recruit once the class starts?
I'm sorry?
Class starts, you can't recruit them?
Can't get them in school. And the guys want to go to spring practice if they're transferring. The ones that are in school somewhere else can come for summer. But most of the guys that are in the transfer portal right now want to go to school this spring, and we can't get them in. After today, it gets much more difficult. Okay? All right, tell me, Ross, when you get me where you want me.
Is that good for everybody where he is standing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that good? And I won't move. I won't get nervous and antsy. And
I'm ready when you are.
okay? First, we'll start with Nate McCullum. We talked about him a few minutes ago. He's 5'11", 184. He's got great speed. Played at Georgia Tech. He was injured in our game, so we really didn't play against him. There we go. It's him in the slot. He's also very close friends to Josh Downs. They worked some with the same trainer. They worked a lot together in high school. And even though he's primarily a slot from Georgia Tech, we feel like he can play all 3 positions very similar to Josh. Got tremendous speed and hands. Over a 3.0, see here, great ball skills. Over a 3.0 at Georgia Tech. Great catch over the shoulder against Georgia. Here he is against Virginia Tech. On a crossing route. And he accomplished everything he did this year with 3 different quarterbacks. This is against Miami. and we know Miami can run. He also is a punt returner.
Is that something you see him doing here?
Yes.
Yeah, Mackey had something like 3-4 straight 100-yard games right before y'all played.
He did. We were so happy he didn't play in our game. But you can see again, tremendous speed. This is against Pittsburgh. And we know Pittsburgh can run. This is really unique to show you what kind of kid he is and how he competes. So he is at the top. Here he becomes a touchback. What great effort with no chance. Tez Walker, Devontae, this is against Georgia. See again, he's 6'3". He's got a lot of skill.
Is that what kind of sold you on him? I mean, beyond his skills as a wide receiver?
Absolutely. We've got to, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but we're a really good program. We got to be a great program. And to do that, we had to win the last 4 games, and 3 of them we were down to the last play. So we've got to get guys that love football and compete all the time and figure out how to make that one more play. And that's what we've got to do. So we're looking at guys that love football and want to compete. This guy's just so fast for his height. This is against Washington. Again, tremendous ball skills over the outside shoulder. He would be an outside receiver. He knocked one ball down and trying to help him get up.
We take that personal back here, man.
Take that. Yeah, he's a favorite already, but see, just really good ball skills. Underthrown ball, stops and catches it, plus gets the interference call. The other thing we've got to do is get back to throwing the ball deep. We didn't do as good a job getting the ball deep this year, and he can do that. Willie Lampkin, Willie is the only question with Willie was ever, he's 6 foot, and he's 285, I think now, his size. But here's against the really good nose tackle at Georgia State. He just competes. Willie looks at you, he shakes your hand like a wrestler. He looks you in the face, and he's tough as nails, loves to play. He walked in my office and said, "If you want me, I'm coming." I mean, we didn't have a discussion.
He's got to work on his bargaining tactics, man.
He had none. You can see, he likes to play.
So he played at 285. How much more can he take on? How much more would you want?
I don't know. He's really stacked. So that's something we've got Brian Hess talking to him now. And when Randy Clements met him, he's one of those that when he shakes your hand, he breaks it. And he looks you right in the eye. So Randy said, "I'm in." Man, he loves to play. And you can see that by the way he plays. Got great feet. And again, that's the nose tackle that's going to Miami.
And you envision him first working at guard and get us work at center. But
I think both, since Corey's coming back, and we weren't sure when we committed Willie whether Corey was coming back or not. And we obviously don't have a young center ready to go. And Willie's got 2 years. But he started all the games at guard his sophomore year and then all the games at center last year. So
Is he better at one or the other in your line?
I don't think so. Center's probably harder to play because you got to snap a ball and look up and have some huge man on top of you.
Is he quick?
He's really quick.
So
If you watch him here, we've got to get tougher in both lines of scrimmage, and we got to be more competitive in both lines of scrimmage. And when this is Tamari Fox, he's a Georgia state champion wrestler, and they're quick, they're explosive. He can run. So I feel like that he's going to make somebody in that room work really hard to keep their job because he loves to play so much. And we had the advantage that Caleb knew him, Caleb Pickrell, so he knew what he was like. This is Amari Gaynor, 6'3", 225, is a great looking young man. Left Florida State is their leading tackler. He'll be an inside linebacker here. He's number 33. So this is not the position he'd be playing for us, but he can really run at that size. And again, we say it every year, but we're continuing to try to get pass rush. We had the one sack in the game with Kamen Rucker, but we've got to get more.
He won't be a jack for you?
He will be.
Okay, I thought you said he will be an inside linebacker.
No, he was, I'm sorry, if I said that, I said it wrong. He was an inside linebacker for Florida State. One of the reasons he's coming here is that he felt like jack position would be better for him. And a lot of the transfers, to be honest, are looking toward trying to help their stock for the NFL. So he felt like this would be a better position for him. He loves Coach Norvell. He loves Florida State. It's just a business decision. And he's two-time academic All-ACC. But you can see he can really run for a guy that size.
Would he be sort of the prototype athlete just in terms of size and speed?
Yes.
If you're just doing it on paper?
Yes, he's got a lot of Noah Taylor in him, a lot of similarities.
setting the edge is so important. That role for Gene is that another, how do you see a guy, his talent, maybe being able to project setting the edge when he plays inside?
I think he can do that, Andrew, because he's played such a physical position. Inside linebacker is about as physical as it gets, and because we're so young at linebacker, if we needed him, he could also slip back in there as a cross train. But I think he'll be able to do that. He's obviously very smart. His dad was a receiver at Florida State. But he can really run. And that's what we see him doing right there. We've got to stop the run better. We've got to get off blocks up front better. And we've got to get more pass rush and tackles for loss to get where we want to go. And we keep saying it, it's time we did it. But you can see this guy can make plays. Got good instincts. It's against Syracuse. And the difference in high school guys right now and the difference in portal guys, you're seeing them 2 and 3 years into the career. And they're older, they're more mature, so you're not going to make mistakes because that's who they are. Some of the high school guys, you're not sure. This is Derek Allen. He's Marcus Allen's older brother. He was a very highly recruited defensive back, as we said, that went to Notre Dame. He will play safety for us. He's got a lot of experience. He's very smart. This is against Pittsburgh. Once again, we're lucky that Pat saw him every day for 2 or 3 years. So we know what we're getting. This is against Clemson. So he's played a lot of ball at a very high level. And I felt like it was a compliment to our program that he wanted to come here, and Marcus has been here for a year. So he obviously shows that Marcus likes what he sees. And then you have to be careful. You've got Amari and Armani. So I will screw that up 100% unless I have it right in front of me. And Armani's a starting corner all the games last year for Virginia Tech, 5'11", 208. He's a really good cover guy. And again, you got the advantage. We've played against him. And we studied him. We watched him. And these guys are very mature. So they come in ready to go. Great play on the goal line, man coverage against State.
Mack, are the transfers, you've seen so many guys transfer within the same conference. Like, is that surprising to you, or is that just another aspect of this thing?
Yeah, he's down here at the bottom. I think, Adam, it's a good question, and the thing I would say is they've been on this campus, they've watched us play, they've got friends on the team because it's all regional, but it's a good question. I would rather have it where you do not transfer within the conference. I think it'd be a lot easier on coaches because here we are, we're on a head coach's call the other day, and guys are talking about, well, you got mine. Well, you got mine. I mean, it's not the most comfortable call, but when the NCAA did all this, I think they wanted to be totally player friendly. So we're going to do what's best for the player, and if it's best for the player from Virginia Beach to come here, if he's leaving, then that's what they wanted to do.
In that call, any coaches expressed any concerns about buy-in with some of these kids when they're going up against a school that was once sort of a rival?
Yeah, it wouldn't be, they wouldn't discuss that kind of thing on a call.
I don't know. I
No,
don't know how much you guys kind of let it roll.
No, usually that's a personal thing. And the thing about whether it's tampering or whatever it is right now, it's all being done by agents. So people say, if you've got somebody, why don't you call them out? You don't have anybody. What you've got information, but you can't prove it. Because when the NCAA let agents get involved, the agents, they do all the work for the coaches. So like I said, I didn't know Phil Longo was leaving until I got the call, because that had already been done. These players, same things are happening with them. So it's different. It's unique. I was sitting there for the last week. I didn't know if I'd get a call from one of our players saying I'm leaving. They said they weren't before the bowl game, but they get home, they talk to agents, deals change, you just don't know anymore. So if they go to school today, and I think they are, we had a team meeting last night, and no one except Justin, who we knew, seems to be leaving. And here is our Virginia Tech guy playing against our Georgia Tech guy. That's how crazy some of this is.
It's just weird.
Here he is at the top.
I guess locker room smack talk is a lot different nowadays.
It'd have to be different. Again, Georgia Tech again. Elijah Huzzy, 5'11". This is against Mississippi State, so you always love to see him. He's got really good ball skills, and that's part of being a great basketball player in high school. But you love to see him play competition like Mississippi State. We haven't had enough interceptions. He's got really good hands. So 12 interceptions in his career. a lot of pass breakups, plays the ball so well, and that's gotten so critical. Here's a very good instincts with the interception for the touchdown on a wheel, which killed us a lot this year. Had the instincts to come off and make the play and go score with it. But people are scoring 30 and 40 points all the time. So now the ability to force a field goal, get a turnover. You don't see a lot of punts. So these are huge stops like this on the goal line against Mississippi State. And you're seeing so many pass interference calls. He's got really good awareness. Here's a double move at the bottom. You see his feet and his quickness. Stops, turns and goes. Turns his body back inside. Doesn't interfere. Ryan Coe, I'm really excited about. He's got such a strong leg coming in from Cincinnati. He's older, he's strong, he's big. I think he made, I think on that sheet it was 16 of his last 17 at Cincinnati. And the coaches from Cincinnati went to Wisconsin. Wisconsin really wanted him. So that was a good sign as well. And he's been really good with his, and he had tougher weather conditions at Cincinnati than he's going to have here, and still did a good job kicking off. But he's very confident and very strong. He's kicking off against Arkansas. Then last is Tom McGinnis, the punter. This will be very interesting.
Big boy.
Do we have cricket film?
I'm not sure what we've got. And we're pleased with Ben Kiernan. He's done a good job. He's only got 1 year left, and we were very, very impressed with this young man. And the height on the ball.
How old is he?
He's 21. I was thinking 22, but he's 21.
He's got a weird accolade. I think before you came, they had an Australian punter. Did they have, what was his name?
Tom Sheldon.
Yeah, and he used to talk about how he was trying to learn the game from the sideline and had to go out and punt every once in a while.
A lot of people are recruiting out of this service, basically, aren't they, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, they've got primarily most of Power 5, they've got 12, 15, probably more at the NFL right now.
It looks good. Okay. Move this back. Yeah, just lift that now.
Leave those there. I will move my back. I think this is a little bit closer.
You up here?
I think this was a little bit closer. This one's up here or down here? That one says on there. That's for like big question.
I got you. I got you.
Man's phone.
I was trying to be helpful. Help out print media.
You said McGinnis played baseball too, Mack?
Let me check.
Cricket.
He played cricket, basketball, and tennis.
Okay.
So, questions about any of those guys?
I guess the first question is how excited are you and how happy are you with the list of guys that you got?
I'm really excited. I am happy because it's hard. with the NIL opportunities that are out there, a lot of the people that are leaving schools have a deal set up before they ever leave. So I would text Pat and say, what about this one? He said, Coach, he's way gone, man. And that one, he's expensive. So for us to be able to get this quality of group that can get in school here, which is very difficult too, and especially the undergraduates. These guys have to have really good grades to be able to get in. So as we're learning this process, we had 5 last year, and all 5 played. 2 of them undergraduates and 3 of them graduates. Two of them were, one of them was captain. I guess Noah wasn't. He was on the leadership committee and might have been captain if he hadn't gotten hurt. But Corey Gaynor being voted captain was a real help to our team. So we feel like that we've got a good group coming back, and this group will even enhance that. And then we've got 10 more coming in June. So that's a lot of change on your team that you feel like can help you for next year.
I asked you in San Diego about how you've gone about the portal differently now as opposed to a couple years ago when you said you would only go after guys that would generally start. How much more time as a staff with Patrick and you guys do you put into looking for kids now than you did just a couple years ago?
We have our priorities. We have priorities for June. If something pops up that we would need, we would still take. You have to look at your priorities compared to your numbers. We may have some guys leave after spring practice. So do you hold those spots for high school guys the next year, or do you find the right guy in the portal in June? But it is different, and what we feel like we need to do now is it's more like free agency. You need to address immediate needs, and you need to address depth, because you're losing some guys too as you gain some guys. And we're, I do think in talking to the staff and talking to the guys that were in the portal for the reason that they wanted to play more, it was great for us to let them play in the bowl game. They all practiced hard, they played hard, they left here with a really good taste in their mouth. So if somebody's leaving because they're mad, if somebody's going to the NFL, they wouldn't play anyway in the bowl. But if someone's here and they're leaving because they want more playing time, I totally understand that. It's fair. As hard as they work, then we're going to work with them to try to help them any way we can.
I don't know if it's fair to ask if this is an upgrade over what you lost. That's the way a lot of people are going to look at this. But you brought in a lot more snaps accumulated than what you lost. So how would you gauge, if you can, what went out and what came in?
Yeah. Andrew, it's a good question. I can probably answer it better in June, very honestly, because I would be saying, I hope so. But we haven't coached these guys yet. We've played against a number of them. And that's one thing that you do. If you lose a guy that's not playing as much and you gain a guy that's a superstar on their team, you would hope that it upgrades your roster.
So how has your approach to the transfer portal changed? Andrew mentioned that you used to say only starters, and you've kind of kept pretty close to that, but you have 10 now. There's a good chance they're not all going to start.
Yeah.
So how has that evolved? Because it's had to evolve over the time.
Well, special teams, this year, I bet we had, Pat, 5 walk-ons starting on special teams in the bowl game. So we need depth. And instead of just a starter, a guy that may share starting time, but all these guys have the ability to start. And we feel good about that. So, but if you have to look at your immediate needs for spring practice. I think we'll start seeing some people not have a spring game because you get people hurt. You got numbers that won't be here till June. You don't want to play all your older starters because they may get hurt and you have to stay out there too long. So I think you'll see more like Georgia Tech, Pat said, had a little scrimmage and then had a practice. I think you'll see more of that than just spring games for the future.
Mack, you sort of alluded to this with Tez, but were some of these guys players that you had recruited out of high school and missed on and saw a second chance when they entered the portal?
Yes, I think more, Michael, than anything else, it's the fact that we had relationships with them. I didn't know Tez, but Tommy and Lonnie did from different schools. So they knew their coaches. So that helps too. Caleb Pickerel, knowing Willie, helped. When Elijah Hussey got in the portal, we've got Gary Downs that's a recruiting coordinator and running back coach at East Tennessee State. The fact that Nate McCullum had a relationship with not only Pat, but he had one with Josh Downs. And Josh could tell him what this place is like. Gary could tell Elijah what this place is like after he got in the portal. So much of this now is on relationships. And that's why if you lose a guy, you need to hug him and kiss him on the way out, because you may see him again next year. I mean, it's bad, but you're not coming? Great. I'm so excited for you.
How much of the initial contact is made by them because they've already been thinking about you because of those relationships, or is it by you guys?
We can't contact
Well,
them.
once they're in the portal.
In the portal, yeah. I'd say it's both, Pat. Them getting someone, usually a high school coach, probably to call us. And then immediately we've got to try to find a number to get a hold of them. So like with Elijah, we could have called Gary Downs immediately and gotten the number so we could call him. And these guys get 100 calls as soon as they go in. So it's just crazy. It's one of the reasons that Justin Olson wanted to go in this afternoon, just to see who's going to call and see what kind of interest you have. And that changes with all the guys. Some of the guys have been disappointed because they were so highly recruited in high school, and they're not as recruited in the portal, so their options aren't as good. So it's a learning process for all of us.
Mack, do you think that I'm still trying to process all this stuff here. Do you think that this group of transfers going to get you from here to here?
Charlie, I'd like to think that our 4 years, the nucleus we have on our team, the fact that we've got one of the best quarterbacks in the country coming back, and the addition of not only the 10 high school guys, because some of them will play because they're more like sophomores when they go through spring practice, and then the addition of the 9 will take us another step. And that's what we talked about yesterday. We didn't, not everybody played great, and I'll go over that in a second, for the Oregon game, and we lost with 19 seconds left to a really good team by 1 point. That's how close we are. So come on, guys. Well, we all need to do something better than we've got right now to get where we want to go. So whatever you've done, take it another step. I need to take it another step. Our coaches need to take it another step. We are so close. And that's, you look at what happened. Clemson and Notre Dame beat us by more than 13 points. We beat Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech by more than a few. All other 10 games came down to the last drive. 10 games. We won 7, lost 3. And the disappointing thing is we lost the last 3, so some people wouldn't see it as a great year. It's only the second time we've won 9 games since I left in '97, so it's a great year. It's only the second time we've ever won the Coastal, so it's a great year. Should it have been 12? Yeah, could have been 3. But yeah, could have been 12 just as easily as 3, but we made the plays in 7 of those games at the end. 2 of them we beat handedly, and then we didn't make the plays in 3 of the last 4. But we also played 2 teams that were in the top 10 throughout the year, the last 2 games, and were competitive in both games. The Clemson game doesn't look as good because of turnovers, but it was a more competitive game than the score ended up.
Are there any guys that you brought in, whether high school or in the transfer portal, that you alluded to earlier in the year that were so excited about Drake May's progress that they said we have to come here to UNC?
Oh, there's absolutely no question that people want to play with Drake. And we had calls from receivers all over the country that want to play with him. So he helped us. There's no question.
So for example, the Georgia Tech wide receiver you showed us first, I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely wanted to be able to play with Drake, and that was something that he
Yeah.
loved about it.
Yeah, he watched film all year and friends with Josh and saw what Josh caught 90-something passes this year and missed 4 games and caught 100 last year. So absolutely. And Drake helped us recruit. He got with Pat and looked at video, and he wanted to help recruit those guys.
Is that a first that you've had a player also help with a coaching search, but also help kind of recruit?
Players have always helped recruit. And I've had players involved in coaching search before. I've asked them their opinions, and I've actually had some guys that came in to interview have to sit down with the offensive line or somebody else, and then I'd probably take 3 opinions out of the room and just see what they thought, because their opinions do matter.
Mack, I meant to ask you out there at the bowl game, and it was kind of a frazzled night, but wasn't Cam Kelly supposed to play in the bowl game? I thought he said he was going to go in the portal but play in the game. And then
He decided not to because I told the guys that you can't go visit and miss a meeting or miss a practice. And he really felt like he needed to go look at different places and visit. So I talked to Cam yesterday, and he's all excited about going to grad school at Virginia. And so the whole thing's kind of different. And I told him I was pulling for him for every game but one.
but
but-
he
but-
didn't go out there with you guys, and he was
No.
like taking official visits.
No, he decided early that I can't do that. I want to play, but I got to go look. And I said, that's totally fair. And the same with Tony and the same with Storm. They all wanted to go look, and I said, go. That's what this is. Probably next year, what we would do is try not to practice the first weekend that we did, so that would be a chance for the guys in the portal to go look at a place because we'd never done this before. So I had practice and then told them they couldn't go. So guys had to go we let them have an extra day off from the end of practice for Christmas. So that was a chance that they could go visit some places. And then some guys are still visiting. I talked to a couple that were on visits this weekend. But the portal didn't open back up till now. So it's closed after the bowl games. So it makes it difficult for them. So we've got to do a better job of trying to help guys that are going in the portal find an opportunity to go visit that still want to play in the game.
Greg said that. Go ahead.
Throughout your career, I'm sure in coaching, there's always some kind of change you're having to adapt to. But is this moment in time, are there more moving pieces that you've had to factor in than you've ever had?
Absolutely, CL. The last 4 years there have been more changes in this business than my other 30 as a head coach. It's just crazy, all the things that are going on. And the people really, the people in charge are looking at it, but they have to look at the schedule for December for coaches. It was just unbelievable that we were dealing with losing coaches, hiring coaches, losing players to the portal, gaining players in the portal, having official visits in the portal, still trying to recruit your high school guys, having a signing date, and getting ready for a bowl game. It's too much. And like I said, I'm in a home in Atlanta when Phil calls me and tells me he's leaving. McNeil leaves the next day, so I'm preparing for a bowl game. So I got to figure out what to do there. So I called Portolani and said, hey, got some good news and bad news. Good news is you're getting a new title. Bad news is you got to call plays in a week. So good luck. And I thought John, Lilly, and Lonnie did an outstanding job of giving us a chance to win the ball game. They did a great job. I can't even imagine the pressure on them in that short a period of time. And a graduate assistant coaching offensive line. And it was good that Chip, Lindsay, and Randy were with us because they could actually see the kids respond and be in meetings and watching them and listening to them, and the kids saw them. So the kids were less likely to get in the portal knowing that their new coach was here. So that did help, even though they couldn't coach.
Greg
And
said.
I also want to follow with how you recruit high school kids now. So a guy that you may lose in high school, is there kind of, at the end of your conversation, is it like, if it doesn't work out, look at us again later?
CL, they say that. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've had people say, Coach, just don't give up on me, man. If this doesn't work out, I'd love to come back. There's coaches laugh about it, but if you're playing a group of 5 or an FCS school, walk over and shake the hand of their best player before you walk over and shake the hand of the coach. After the game, hey man, you look great. So it's it's crazy. The whole thing's just crazy. Andrew?
Yeah, Greg Sankey said the other day, kind of alluding to what you talked about last month with moving the early signing period back. Do you think there's a lot of wheels in motion to
I think we absolutely should move the signing date back to where it was. And if early enrollees want to sign, let them sign, because they got to have a signing date anyway. But it doesn't have to be on a day. Just let them sign like they used to. And then have it where coaches can't leave their program till after the last game. And then we're not disrupting kids. It's not fair for fans. Bowl games were great. So if people think bowl games are going away, they were better this year than I've ever seen them. There were so many down to the wire, and they were exciting and fun. But it's not fair to the guys to lose their coaches right before a bowl game. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to anybody. So to me, do it more like the NFL. You can leave after your last game. Signing dates move back. So if coaches are leaving, then you wouldn't be in a position where you've signed and then your coach leaves right after. And let the transfer portal guys still do what they're doing. Still sign them like we're signing them now, but don't double up with the high school guys and the transfer portal guys and coaches leaving. Let's just put some sense back into this and slow down. The other thing that's happening, and it's sad, we've all talked about recruiting, evaluating, and developing players. I'm really worried that coaches aren't going to be as patient in developing players because they can go get an older one. And that's going to hurt young players on your team, because why wait? If I can get me a starting safety, why wait on a young one to grow up? And that makes it more difficult too. So I'm worried about that for young players, not only high school players, but young players on your team.
Well, back in the past when we all signed maybe 16 to 25 high school players, but now you're getting, maybe, 10 and 10 in the portal and 5 high school players. Where are all the high school players going to go now?
That's the problem, Charlie. I'm seeing high school coaches say, I've got 8 guys that would have signed 2 years ago that aren't signed yet. And they're all anxious and they're all waiting to see if a school doesn't get what they want in the portal, then they'll come back to my guy and sign him right before signing, the second signing date. So I do think we'll see more people signing on the second signing date simply because there are going to be more guys that don't have scholarships.
You mentioned before that spring games could change. Are you any closer to maybe making a change here at UNC, and how would that affect fans who want to be able to see a spring game? Would they get to be in practice, or?
Yeah, what we would probably do is have something, fan day, but it's something we've got to look at, and what I'll look at is how many guys will be out for spring, how many people have operations, how many people get hurt in spring. So we may need to set a date with the ACC network that we're going to have something, but not declare it as a spring game until we know that we're going to have enough people and it's a safe environment.
That open practice that you had, those like students only on the first day class in August, that's something that you could potentially look at?
Yeah, just something like that to let our fans have a look in the spring.
Are all the transfers on campus today?
Except Tom.
Okay. What's his plan?
I think he's coming tomorrow. You got visa issues and travel issues differently, but.
How is it like recruiting him? Like, did you just call? Were you calling Australia and stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Who helped lead you with that?
Larry Porter knew the people,
Okay.
and Pat knew the people, so it's just different.
Yeah, he didn't see the campus, obviously.
No,
So
he's never been here.
So, no in-home visit for you?
Yeah.
Can I pivot a little bit? Last couple of years, there's been talk about being more aggressive and physical in the interior lines. Then you bring in coaches, you're always hiring coaches you hire, for example, and then coaches leave, and then it doesn't work out. Where is the balance between who could have done a better job? You follow me?
No, I have no clue what you're saying, Art. I think you're saying, why aren't we getting tougher in the 2 lines of scrimmage? Is that what you said?
Yeah. But
Yeah, I followed that part. I didn't follow if there's a better guy for you at WCHL, they ought to rotate and get somebody else better in there.
No.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what I heard. That's what Michael's here
No
for.
comparison.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying, like, I'll use Bricknell for an example. You were really high
Yeah.
Well, it's just all to the place. So what,
Yeah, I think we had much fewer tackles for loss and sacks than we had the previous year. And the guy we had the previous year is coaching for the national championship in the offensive line that we cussed for 3 years tonight. So it's not all coaching. I told the kids yesterday and the coaches, we need to take another step as coaches because we've made improvement. This year was much better than last year. To win 9 games in the Coastal as compared to 6 and lose a bowl game, and we lost a bowl game by an awful looking team instead of a team that played a team that was better than we were down to 19 seconds. So this year was much better than last year. And negative people will say you lost the last 4, positive people will say you've done something that's been done here twice since 97. So that's just the way life is. But I did tell the offensive lineman yesterday that this will be the 3rd offensive line coach in a year that you've had. So if the one that left for Georgia didn't think you were good, and the one that left for Minnesota or for Wisconsin didn't think you were good, and this one doesn't think you're good, you know, it might all look in the mirror because it gets back to you. But we definitely, I do think part of what we did last year was by scheme. We didn't run the ball as much as I want to, and therefore we weren't as physical because Drake was so good and we threw the ball so well. And then when we didn't throw it as well at the end, we didn't win as much. So we've got to go back and reestablish a better running game. And I think that's more scheme than players or coaches. And that's something that we can help with. And it's why I hired Randy, because he started the interview with a hat that said run the damn ball. So, I mean, that's what I want. And the reason I hired Chip is I want to keep the same passing game. And this is the passing game that he grew up with. So we've got to incorporate both. And Coach Malzahn's done a tremendous job of running the ball everywhere he's been. And Chip's a Malzahn guy, so he knows how to run the ball. And he and Randy are really good friends. So I didn't want to come in and reinvent the wheel.
when did that come up as an issue with Phil and the balance in the running during the season? Did that gradually?
I don't think we ran the ball as well this year at all, the whole time. And I think we were leaning on Drake so much that we've got to go back and run the ball, because the better defenses we played at the end of the year, the tougher it was to score. And even against Oregon, we were 2 for 4 in the red zone. They were 3 for 4. We missed a field goal. They missed a field goal. It came down to 1 point. So we just got to go back and reestablish. We did better with tackles for loss and sacks the first 10 games. We did better with red zone scoring the first 10 games. We didn't do as well in the end.
To your knowledge, are all of the running backs coming back? All 6?
As far as I know, Michael, they were all at the meeting last night and they're all in school this morning. So
I just didn't know.
now, unless you've gotten a call, I keep my phone up here.
I just
So
didn't know if DJ and the line had any eligibility left, but I guess they do.
yeah,
Mack, I need to follow up with you about some of the stuff we talked about after the bowl game.
Okay.
Along with what Art was asking you about.
that was really stupid of me, by the way, to have an off the record that wasn't off the record in the hallway press conference. Every young coach is told, don't ever do that, because it's really stupid. So I was so nice to you all. And I'm glad I don't read what you said, because I'd probably be mad about what you said. So go ahead, Adam.
No, I think I was fair with it.
You all always think you're fair. There's never one that said, boy, I wasn't fair on this article.
Think is the optimal word.
Think, yeah, think is the word.
Appreciated that. I felt like it protected us both from a viral moment, maybe. Just along the lines of coaching, I mean, we talked about it out there in San Diego, and you said you were going to get with Gene, kind of make an overall assessment on the defensive side of the ball, talk to the guys individually. I mean, do you anticipate making any coaches changes on that side of the ball now that you've gone through the process?
The guys were gone for a week. I really haven't seen them till last night. We had a staff meeting yesterday and a team meeting last night. The guys are at the convention today and tomorrow. So over the next 2 weeks, there's no urgency right now because we don't have recruiting, and that's usually when you have to have an urgency. I'll sit down with Gene. I'll sit down with each coach and Gene together, and then reassess exactly where we are and where we need to go.
So I haven't done that yet.
No, I haven't seen them. I mean, again, you worry about their mental health and them being exhausted, and you kill them till the bowl game. You get back and everybody separates. You got to give them a little time off. So they needed a break too.
Do you want to make changes?
I want to win. I want to win all the games with really nice kids that are mean on Saturday afternoon and all graduating. That's what I want to do. I want to win every game. I don't want to win 9 games. That's not what I came back for. And I told them all that last night. We are so close. Why don't we take another step? Why don't we take another step? My job is to figure out what I need to do, what the coaches need to do to take another step. Is that change a coach? Everybody always wants to fire a coach. Is that the right thing to do for us at this time? I've got to make those decisions. Nobody else. And I have more information than anybody else.
How much a part of the process is maybe some of the coaches speaking with other staffs, other opportunities? As far as the next 2 weeks, how you're going to reassess things when you have these conversations, if there is a coach or two who might be speaking to another program, how does that factor into your conversations?
I've always told our coaches, if you're talking to somebody, just tell me. I never want somebody to stay here that wants to go somewhere else. I want people here that are happy and like it and excited to be here. So if you want to go, just tell me. That's all I want. I don't care. And then and I always say too that I've got to pay you what you're worth to this program for winning. So if they're going to pay you this much and I don't think you're worth that much, then leave. I mean, that's just the way the conversation goes. It's that way. I've told them we're very transparent. My conversations with these coaches will be exactly like they are with you, except more direct and tougher. And I want to get some answers.
Did Longo surprise you, or did you know that was coming?
No, it totally surprised me.
Can I ask you about Tamari Fox? You didn't get anybody in the portal from the defensive line. You lost a couple of guys. He's been here, obviously. Does it kind of like getting a guy from the portal now into the program
Yeah.
because he wasn't part of the team?
Yeah, Tamari is really a good player, and I want us to be more aggressive up front, obviously, and he is. He's got explosive power. He can get rid of people. He penetrated. He made plays. It really hurt us last year that he didn't play. And another guy that was really aggressive and penetrated was Ray Bahasic. Really hurt us when we lost Ray. So that was 2 guys. And the guy that played the best throughout the year on the defensive line was Kamen Rucker. And he's explosive. He's powerful. He's the best pass rusher we've got. And he's the guy. In fact, I'll give you these quickly because I know we're about at the end. When your wife texts you and says, "Where are you?" It's not good. Defensively, the 2 guys that played the best in the ball game were Kamen Rucker and Ced Gray. And then the guys that contributed the most other than that, DeAndre Boykins, and obviously Power Eccles' play on the interception gave us a chance to win the game because we had a 14-point swing right before the half, and usually you win the game when you get that swing. Offensively, the best player in the game was Kobe Pesor, and he was sick all week and didn't care. Practiced every day. He had 7 catches for 98 yards, 1 for a touchdown. The top contributors, we're really, really proud of Andre Green. He stepped in when Gavin Blackwell and Antoine Green couldn't play and caught his first touchdown and played great. Also, John Copenhaver, Bryson Nesbitt, Corey Gaynor, Spencer Rollin, and Drake played so good. And we're talking about things, Sam Howell did so well last night, and we're so proud of him. But at the same time, Sam wanted Drake to come to the game, and Sam came to a couple of Drake's games, and Drake calls and says, "What do you think?" And I'd have to miss the first meeting, and Drake said, "I don't think I need to miss it, Coach. We got to get better." And I thought, "You're one of our best players. You're one of our top leaders. I don't think you need to go either." And as much as we love Sam and as much as we're proud of it, we got to make individual decisions that are about what's best for this team and taking the next step and winning. And if Drake had gone, then what if Ced Gray had somebody for the Panthers that he wanted to go see? And you just can't do that. So you got to make decisions based on what's best for the team. Special teams, the best players were Drew Little, John Adorno, Obi Agbuna, Jalen Brooks, and George Pettaway. And we're so close to breaking a touchdown on George's kickoff. Other contributors were Deuce Caldwell, Jake Harkle-Road, and Gibson McCray. And again, a number of walk-ons in there that helped us a lot during the Oregon game. Other questions as we close?
One quick follow-up about Tamari. What did he do this past fall? I know he was practicing. Was he a scout team guy? Or?
Yes. He really helped us on scout team because he wore them out now. He was not going to be the guy that stood there and let them block him.
He got quite a few reps doing that as well.
He did. And then he had his knee cleaned up at the end, so he should be ready for spring.
How many years does he have left? 1 or 2?
I think 1.
So this past year counts against his
It
own?
counted against him, which I don't think is fair, but that's a rule.
So will you look at the national championship game today? What do you expect to see?
I really haven't studied either one of them enough. You know, everybody's going to think Georgia's got the best players in the country, and they're confident, and they won. I thought it would have been better for TCU if Georgia had blown out Ohio State. That probably got their attention. But TCU is one of those teams that 5-7 last year, and just keep finding ways to win. So it should be fun. We've actually invited players that want to. We redid the Players Lounge for yesterday and opened it for them. And we've invited any of the players that want to come over and watch it with Sally and I to the Players Lounge tonight. So
When you see a team like TCU make it into the playoffs and into the final game, does it say, Carolina, we could be there too?
yes, it gives all of us outside that little group that's been there every year a chance. And TCU's a great example of a 5-7 team that's playing for a national championship. Tulane's a great example of a 2-10 team that came back and ended up 12-2 and beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. So it's all about the preparation. It's all about who plays the best, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to start improving the things that we've got to improve.
Mike, how does you evaluate the program every year? You've been doing this forever. How does the self-evaluation look when you sit down and think, is there anything I can change? I've been doing it for 30 plus years. What can I change and make new this year for this team?
Yeah, Tommy, I'm probably harder on myself than anybody. I am. And I'll ask the coaches to tell me things that they think I need to be doing better and we need to be doing better. I ask each coordinator to sit down and write up what they think they did well and what they can improve, and go through every coach. And then I take those notes, and I take my notes with the coordinators. I take my notes with all the coaches and sit down with them, and they're hard discussions now. I said, you explain to this, I will go over the bowl game with every coach individually and ask them to tell me what they see out of their players. And I said, I'm not going to tell you what I see till you tell me what you see. But I want to know what's out there. So you tell me what that looks like. And you tell me if you could take that video and take it to Charlotte at the convention and use it as a training tape. That's what I want to see. And if it's not, why? Why is your training tape different than your real tape? Because your real tape should be your training tape. So that's what I'm asking them.
Is that the AFCA Coaches Convention?
Yeah.
And it's in Charlotte this year?
Yeah, it's in Charlotte.
I figured being that way.
They don't do that, and I've always thought we should.
Like the Final Four basketball?
Yeah, they always have it somewhere different. So, and I think most of our coaches are down there. I'm not going to go. I got too much to do. Talking about self-evaluation, Tommy. There's nothing I can get in Charlotte that helps us win more games. There is some things I can do here. Anything else? All right, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Art. Thanks, sir. Great to see you. And I don't know.